Howdy doody, I'm trying to wake up here so I can talk to you about sleep. Let's pretend we hook you up to a thing called a polysomnograph. That's a cross between an EEG and a machine that measures rapid eye movement. And I'll get to all that in a minute. So we're going to talk about sleep. I doubt that I put you to sleep. I may, I hope not. It means I'm not doing my job very well. This is new information, relatively new information. In the old days, when we talked about the stages of sleep, and you may have even heard this in your introductory to psychology class, uh, we used to teach that there were various kinds of waves produced at specific times during the sleep stages. And we were adamant about, boy, you need to know these alpha waves, theta waves, beta waves, delta waves. We don't care about that anymore. What we care about is really what's going on. We mentioned waves, and I'll mention them in this discussion, but for our purposes, we're not going to burden you with all these different kind of waves. Not even called most of the time when you read about this stuff, they're not even called by their old names anymore. So we'll look at me, I'm yawning, thinking about sleep. Wow. Um, Hook me up to one. I'll be producing all kind of weird waves. So let's get started with this. Enough time, enough, enough funny time. Alpha waves. Yeah, we still talk about those. They're associated with relaxation. Does that mean you got to be asleep to produce alpha waves? The answer is no, although they are associated with stage one sleep. The old days, alpha waves were thought to be the, how could I put it, opposite of beta waves, I guess. Beta waves and alpha waves mixing together to put you into a stage of sleep. But we don't think that anymore. What we look at as alpha waves are dominant, and during that dominance, then you are relaxing. People can actually produce alpha waves when they are meditating. So beta waves, if you wanted, don't write that down. Beta waves would be the waves that we would identify with wakefulness. But again, told you, I start talking about sleep, but it knocks me out. But we don't worry about the betas. We'll worry about the alphas, and then in a minute we're going to worry about some other ones. We ain't going to call them by anything, except for one. So alpha waves, relaxation, boom. I'm watching a boring program on TV, or I'm doing something else that I'm not interested in, and my brain may start drifting off, and these alpha waves are being produced by my brain. Uh, your brain is less relaxed than it is in wakefulness, but it's still at a higher functioning rate than it will be as you enter other sleep stages. They're actually, depending on the literature, I've seen some literature say there are three stages of sleep, some say there are five. Uh, we're not necessarily going to count stages. We do mention stage one because that's the beginning of relaxation. You can actually be easily awakened because you're not totally asleep in stage one. But once you begin to relax more, then your brain begins to change things. It begins to enter into stage two, and in this stage, we have things called sleep spindles produced. It's a burst of waves. I won't give you the electrical component to that, but it's in your text. These are bursts of waves that last about a half a second, and they result from interactions between cells in the thalamus and the cortex. They increase after new learning, and the number of sleep spindles tends to correlate with improvements in certain types of memory. I don't want to sidetrack here, but I do want to mention something. There's a discussion about what memory really is, and it's a long-term discussion. Some people say that your memory doesn't improve when you go to college because you cannot improve your memory, but I don't really buy that. I think that you can improve your memory. You're not going to improve it by taking some silly thing like Prevagen, because that doesn't work. But it's been proven to be useless. It's a placebo. People think, oh, I can remember. I'll take this crap and I can remember a lot of things much better than I did before. Well, no, you're just working harder. That's all it boils down to. So sleep spindles, they will increase. We can put you on a machine, measure sleep spindles after giving you some kind of a task to do, maybe a repetitive task, and you learn it. Now you remember it. Now the sleep spindles indicate that. They also can indicate mental retardation. I don't like that term, but that's the scientific term. I like cognitively challenged or something. I'm not a PC guy, but I like to be gentle with some of these terms. Um, so if you spend a lot of time doing something, then and you begin to become uh, very acquainted with it, and you remember how it works, then that's probably gonna show up sleep spindles. Uh, there's actually an idea, and it's beginning to be accepted that sleep spindles, brain waves, could predict IQ scores. That's another thing that's guessy. It's iffy. IQ, really? Intelligent quotient. We like to call those intelligence tests, intelligence scores. But that, again, getting off track here. Sorry about that. It's hard not to do that. So, what do? We leave stage two. We enter into the deep sleep, slow wave sleep. These are the waves that, here again, the literature is so goofy. These used to be called delta waves. They used to be called stage 3 delta waves and stage 3 theta waves, stage 4 delta waves. I read something yesterday that said stage 2 is where theta waves occur. Give me a break. Who knows? Who cares? Slow wave sleep. That's all you need to know. Heart rate, breathing rate, brain activity decreases. Slow waves increase. And that's really all you need to know about that. Older sources said stage 3 had fewer slow waves and stage 4 had more of them. Whoa, okay, so what? All they do is they indicate neuronal activity that's very highly synchronized. And it's driven by spontaneous activity in the thalamus and partly by waves of blood flow. So that's the latest literature. What's the point? These deep stages of sleep are the most reparative stages. That's where your body and your brain repairs itself. It's not the most restful. That's still not debatable right now. The most restful sleep is what we'll talk about now. It's called REM sleep. So we go through stage one. If you want to do it this way to make it simple, stage 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Or you can go stage 1, light sleep, stage 2, a little deeper sleep, stage 3, very deep sleep. And then you don't go to stage 4, or if we're doing it the old way, stage 5. So you've gone 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's called NREM sleep, non-rapid eye movement sleep. Why is it called that? Because your eyes aren't moving around. But what happens is you backtrack. You don't go from 1, 2, 3. Let's just use 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't do that. 4 being the last stage, as opposed to the old days when it was 5. You go 1, 2, 3, and then you go 3, 2, and you don't go to 1. You enter into REM sleep. Rapid eye movements is what REM stands for. Rapid eye movement sleep. What happens here? Well, here we go. I told you this is new. We call it now paradoxical sleep. And the reason we call it paradoxical sleep instead of REM sleep is because we're finding out more and more about eye movement. Used to, the association with REM sleep was rapid eye movement equals dreaming, right? No dreaming in NREM sleep, non-rapid eye movement sleep, no dreaming. Well, yeah, there is. It's just not the kind of dreaming that you have in paradoxical sleep. It's called paradoxical sleep for this reason. You're almost awake. But guess what? This is the most restful time that you spend in sleep. It's really weird because you're almost awake. It's easy to wake you up here. Dreams can wake you up. You've had a fearful dream, and oh boy, I'm glad that was a dream. Well, paradoxical sleep. So rapid eye movement, i.e. paradoxical sleep, dreaming is occurring. Now, what's happening in this REM business? If you're on an EEG, you're having irregular, low voltage, fast waves. That means that neuronal activity has increased. So again, if your brain is doing things rather rapidly, then the sleep is very light. And now the research is not calling it almost stage one, it's calling it similar to stage one, except for the eye movements. Stage one doesn't have rapid eye movement. Only REM sleep does. Why it's called REM sleep, paradoxical/REM sleep. So eye movements are fast. REM combines aspects of deep sleep, light sleep, and then some stuff that research is having a lot of trouble classifying at the moment. We got better instruments with better measurements, and this polysomnograph that I opened this up with is one of those new instruments. It helps us understand what's going on in your head when you're sleeping. When you fall asleep and start stage one, slowly progress to stage two, and then into slow wave sleep. If you're in that transitional period, loud noises or any other thing can interrupt the progress. But after about an hour or so, you go through this deep sleep business, and then you backtrack to stage two, and then REM, and it lasts about 90 minutes. These cycles last about 90 minutes, and then early in the evening, slow wave sleep dominates. That means you're in a deeper sleep. So people fall asleep and boom, you can't hardly wake them up. That's stage three, or if you want to say four, it's fine with me. I don't care. It's easier to say stage three. This is where sleepwalking occurs. That's why you can't get a sleepwalker to wake up most of the time. It's not dangerous to wake them up. If you can get them awake, best thing to do is just try to ease them back into their bed and protect their safety for them, because they don't know what they're doing and they won't remember the next day. The sleep is too deep. So there you have it. Later research with this REM business, it was thought that you only dreamed during REM. I just mentioned that you dream during NREM. It's been shown now. There's visual imagery in NREM and complicated plots, i.e. storylines, but not always. But in a REM dream, there is the presence of visual imagery, but also always complicated plots. Or we say complicated plots, we should clarify that storylines. And sometimes that's enough to wake you up. A nightmare, boom, wakes you up, especially if it's a terrifying nightmare. So there you have it. Stages of sleep. Really confusing now, isn't it? Because it used to be so simple to explain to classes. Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 2, REM, boom, and then you dream, and then all these other things happen. More research, the more we find out. All right, so there you go. A very confusing tidbit of information. I really hope it wasn't. And now you can all wake up because I'm done talking to you about sleep.